Hello, good morning. I hope that you are all well on this beautiful day. This video is to launch our next sampler, and she is a little gem. Our series of little gems are samplers that are available by PDF download rather than booklet form. I'm filming the video the day before the release, as the little sampler is actually a gift for my husband, and I want to give him the sampler before the world sees the sampler. So this evening we're going to have a romantic supper, and I'm going to give him his gift. Now my husband, he cherishes something that I make for him. He knows the thought and the time and effort that goes behind the gift, and it makes it all the more precious to him. So let me show you. I'm a little bit nervous and also very excited to show you this little sampler. It's an original design that's based on samplers in my collection, and the sampler conveys lots of messages, both in words and in unspoken words. Now this little verse, it actually has a little bit of a private joke between myself and my husband, and I often say to him, Raymond, there are many flowers in a man's life, but there's only one rose. And we have a little laugh. He's my best friend. We have lots of laughs. We have tears, but we have many more laughs than tears. So I thought that this little verse would make a good one to put into the sampler, that when he sees this on the wall, he'll just remember that there is only one rose in a man's life, and for him, that's me. So the main motif had to be a rose, and I chose to stitch a 4-coloured rose. Now, I don't know if you can actually get 4 colours in a rose. I know you can get tri-coloured roses, but this rose has 4 colours. And the reason it has 4 colours is that I wanted to convey certain messages. And, you know, for centuries, roses have been used to convey messages when given as a gift. So, not only the colour of the rose means something, but the shades of colour mean things as well. Now, I've got this all written down, so I'm going to sort of read it from the booklet. The deep pink of my rose denotes happiness, the medium pink gratitude, and the light pink gentleness. Pink symbolises friendship, admiration, grace, sophistication, and elegance. The red in my rose is symbolic of unconditional love, enduring passion, devotion, courage, and respect. And my rose whispers to my husband that I love him. I also included in my sampler some other flowers. I included carnations, strawberry flowers, and little strawberries. Now, red carnations symbolise love, pride and admiration that I have for my husband. And strawberries, they're a symbol of honour and purity. And strawberries also represent marital fidelity, and faithfulness is the foundation stone of any relationship or marriage. Now, Ray and I, we've been married 27 years, I think it's 27 years, and we've lived together for several years before we committed to marriage, but we've both been married before, so faithfulness is so important to our marriage. It's the keystone of our marriage. The strawberry fruit, when shared with another, is said to produce love, and the delicate heart shape of the berries symbolises purity, passion and healing, and our marriage has healed the hurt and the pains of our earlier marriages. Flowers are a reminder of beauty and joy, And the strawberry flower is a symbol of purity, innocence, humility and audacity. And strawberry flowers, they originate in the crown of strawberry plants, and they begin their life as tiny little flower buds, and they grow to become a beautiful flower. And that is what a relationship or a marriage is about. It starts as a little bud of love, and it grows and it blooms. And after you have the strawberry flower, you get little swellings on the stems, and these grow into little delicious red fruits. And that's what love in a marriage does. And a strawberry is also considered to be the fruit of labour. It's the reward for the work you put into something. Now, besides flowers, I also included this little bee, and bees symbolise industry, and I'm always dashing around doing something. It's very rare for me to sit and do nothing, so I am Ray's busy bee. I'm his busy little bee. And when Hands Across the Sea Samplers was formed, we chose a bee as our company logo because Sandra and I and all our model stitchers, we are busy little bees. So that's why the bee is there. Now, when you look at samplers that have been stitched in times past, you never actually know whether motifs were chosen to convey messages, and they often were, or whether little girls chose motifs because they just liked the look of them. And when you are stitching or charting a sampler, this is one of the things that's always in my mind. I'm trying to look and see if there's a story, or in those motifs, if the little girl is trying to tell us something. And if this little sampler lasts the test of time, I wonder if somebody else will read the messages that are hidden in this sampler. There is also a cryptic message with all the motifs taken as a whole, but that is a secret never to be told. And I don't think you're going to guess. It's a little cryptic message for one other person. I really hope that you like the little design. It's been designed so that it is an inclusive sampler, that everybody should be able to stitch this sampler, from whether you're an advanced needle worker or somebody who's picking up their needle for the first time. The sampler has been designed with cross stitch over 2, and that's why the verse is over 2, so that it can be stitched on Ada if you stitch on that fabric. And the stitches used are cross stitch over 2, single running stitch for the little buzz of the bee, and I also added a satin stitch sawtooth border because I love stitching satin stitch. But I also realised that not everybody likes to stitch satin stitch, or if you are stitching on Ada, satin stitch can be a little bit tricky. So I thought this sampler would actually look nice without any border at all, just being framed, or you could stitch a single line of cross stitch around, or you could stitch 2 parallel lines of cross stitch. These are just little computer mock-ups of the sampler with 2 alternative borders. I'm trying to give people options so that you can make this sampler stitch friendly to no matter what your capabilities are or what you're using. And because of that, in the thread legend, I've included a list of threads for Vera Soie d'Alger 103 and DNC. I stitched this sampler in 103. And on that note, I used, one of the pinks I used was 344. It's come to my attention that this colour is currently in short supply. You may be able to track down some reels of this, but there isn't a huge supply in the US. So what I've done in the booklet, I've given you an alternative pink. Now it is a little bit lighter, but it's the one that will work in the design, and that's 134. If you're going to stitch this in a Verosoir d'Alger, the colour that matches the 344 is readily available. So let's have a look and see. The stitch count is 198 stitches by 134 stitches, and in the little download I've included fabric sizes from 28, 30, 32, 36, 40, 46 and 56 count. If you were going to stitch this on 28 count, it would be 14.14 inches by 9.57. If you were going to stitch it on 36 count, it would be 11 by 7.44. On 46 count, it would be 8.61 by 5.83. And if you stitched it on 56 count, it would be 707 by 1307. Now I stitched this little sampler on Legacy Linen Sycamore Seapod, which is an uneven weave sampler that's 5263, I believe. There she is. I wanted the sampler to resemble a postcard, because a postcard is something, you know, you can scribble down a message, and this is very much a sampler that has many messages in it for my husband. Now with the download, the moment you complete your purchase, you will receive an email, and the email contains the download link. But before you download the sampler, before you print the sampler, it would be much better if you downloaded it, because there's a lot of paper with this booklet, and you don't need to print it all. You only need to print what you wish to use. There's lots of options in this little booklet. So we have our front cover, and then we have the little story that I like to tell. I explain about the symbolism of the motifs, and then you get 6 graphs. Now before you get to the 6 graphs, you will have the thread legend, and you will have the computer mock-up of the 2 different options to the sort of border. You will then get a 4-page large graph in colour, and then you will get a 4-page black and white chart that just has black and white symbols on. Now I've also included a 1-page graph in black and white and in colour. I like having 1-page charts where possible, because I like to put them next to my needlework, and then I can just see everything on there. But the 1-page, the squares are very small, whereas the 4-page, the squares are very legible. It's all about personal choice. Now you will notice on this little sampler that I have personalised it with my initials, my husband's initials and the year. And I'm sure that you will want to personalise this sampler for yourself. So what I've done, I have charted out the alphabet in capitals, lowercase and the numbers. And I've also included a piece of graph paper so that you can design that out and even add your own little verse. You know, you don't need to add my verse, you could add something that means something to you and your partner. Only One Rose, a postcard from the heart, is available now for download on the Hands Across the Sea Samplers website, and she's also available in selected stores. If you would like to purchase this from your needlework store, you could contact the owner, and if she doesn't have this facility already, they could contact me about gaining access for their store to the downloads. I think that that's probably about everything I can tell you about this sampler for the moment. I hope you love her. Every single stitch was charted and stitched with a great deal of love, and it's a postcard from my heart to my husband, but it's also a postcard from my heart to your hands. Until the next time, stay safe, stay well, and bye-bye.